Bà làm gì được. Bà biết nhìn không đi. Nước thì sợ nước, bơi thì không biết bơi. Không biết anh chế thì con thấy anh ăn luôn vô đầu cái đi nữa. Có nước sâu trong đây không hả?
Dạ thưa anh.
Vietnam's central and northern regions are grappling with one of the most severe flooding events in recent years, as torrential rains triggered by consecutive storms have inundated cities, submerged homes, and displaced tens of thousands. From Hue to Thai Nguyen, the deluge has overwhelmed infrastructure, paralyzed transportation, and prompted urgent rescue operations. Between October 26th and 27th, Hue City recorded over 1,300 millimeters of rainfall in less than 24 hours, with the summit of Bach Ma Mountain in Phu Loc Commune measuring 1,320 millimeters and Khe Tre Commune nearly 1,000 millimeters. Streets such as Le Quy Don, To Hue, and Nguyen Hue were submerged under 0.5 to 1 meter of water, stranding vehicles and forcing residents to evacuate by boat. The National Center for Hydrometeorological Forecasting reported that areas from Hue to Quang Ngai experienced heavy to extremely heavy rainfall, with localized totals exceeding 600 millimeters. Rainfall is expected to continue through October 29th, with central provinces like Gia Lai and Dak Lak also facing significant precipitation. In Thai Nguyen City, about 80 kilometers north of Hanoi, floodwaters reached rooftops and the tops of cars. Residents were trapped in their homes, while others fled to higher ground. The Ministry of Environment confirmed 8 fatalities due to flash floods and landslides in the mountainous north, with 5 more reported missing. Power outages, collapsed roads, and overwhelmed drainage systems have crippled urban centers. In Hue, rescue teams navigated submerged streets using boats, while emergency shelters were set up in schools and government buildings. The city's iconic Phan Chau Trinh Street was heavily flooded, disrupting commerce and daily life. Vietnam's Disaster and Dike Management Authority activated emergency protocols, deploying military units, rescue personnel, and medical teams to affected areas. Helicopters were used to deliver supplies to isolated communities, while volunteers coordinated food and water distribution. The government has urged residents in flood-prone zones to evacuate and avoid crossing rivers and streams. Schools in several provinces have suspended classes, and transportation services have been halted due to submerged highways and damaged bridges. Floodwaters have inundated thousands of hectares of rice paddies and farmland, threatening food security and livelihoods. In Quang Ngai and Ha Tin provinces, farmers reported total crop losses, with livestock swept away by rising waters. Local businesses, especially in tourism-dependent cities like Hue and Da Nang, face mounting losses. Hotels, restaurants, and cultural sites have closed, and the damage to infrastructure could take months to repair. Preliminary estimates suggest economic losses in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The floods have had cross-border implications. On October 8th, water from Vietnam surged into Cambodia, triggering flash floods that submerged villages and left thousands stranded. Although viral videos misattributed some footage to Cambodia, the record flooding in both countries was confirmed by regional authorities. Experts warn that climate change is intensifying Vietnam's vulnerability to extreme weather. Rising sea levels, erratic rainfall patterns, and deforestation have compounded the risk of floods. Over 70% of Vietnam's population is regularly impacted by natural disasters, including storms, droughts, and saltwater intrusion. In response, Vietnam and the Netherlands held a joint seminar on October 23rd to promote innovation in flood control and climate adaptation. The event, part of the Viet Water 2025 exhibition, emphasized the need for international cooperation, technological advancement, and sustainable urban planning. The 2025 floods have exposed critical gaps in Vietnam's disaster preparedness and infrastructure resilience. While emergency response has been swift, long-term solutions require investment in early warning systems, green infrastructure, and community education. Local governments are now reviewing urban drainage plans, reinforcing river embankments, and considering relocation strategies for high-risk communities. Civil society groups are calling for greater transparency, accountability, and inclusion in disaster planning. In Lang Son province, a man was seen rowing a canoe through flooded streets to deliver medicine to elderly neighbors. In Hue, students volunteered at shelters, cooking meals and comforting displaced families. "I've never seen rain like this," said Nguyen Thilan, a shopkeeper in Hue. "The water came so fast. We had no time to save anything, but our neighbors helped us. We're alive, and that's what matters." Torrential rain and rising floods are affecting the central region, particularly Hue and Da Nang cities, where river levels continue to surge, according to the National Center for Hydrometeorological Forecasting. From late October 26th to the early hours of October 27th, areas stretching from Hue City to Quang Ngai province experienced heavy to extremely heavy rainfall, with some places recording over 100 millimeters. The Bach Ma station in Hue measured 119.8 millimeters, while the Rach Bun station in Dong Thap recorded 165.8 millimeters. Between October 27th and 29th, torrential rain is expected from the southern area of Quang Tri to Da Nang and the eastern part of Quang Ngai, with rainfall totaling 200 to 400 millimeters and localized areas exceeding 600 millimeters. From Ha Tin to the northern part of Quang Tri, moderate to heavy showers are forecast, with totals reaching 100 to 200 millimeters. Other central provinces, including Gia Lai and Dak Lak, are likely to see rainfall of between 40 to 80 millimeters, with some areas exceeding 150 millimeters within 3 hours. Severe rainfall may cause flash floods, landslides on steep slopes, and widespread flooding in low-lying and urban areas. Residents are urged to closely follow real-time flood and landslide warnings available at LUKTSATLO, NCHMF.gov.vn. Hue and Da Nang cities are facing rising water levels as the Hung, Perfume, and Vu Gia Thursday Bon rivers swell from upstream discharges. The Vu Gia River at Ai Nia Station is expected to peak at level 3 before receding, while rivers in Hue will stay above this threshold. Authorities have issued a disaster risk warning at levels 2 to 3 for both cities. Coastal areas from the southern part of Quang Tri province to Quang Ngai province are experiencing strong winds and high tides. The northern part of the East Sea, including Hong Sa Special Zone, faces winds of 6 to 7 on the Beaufort scale, with gusts up to 9 and waves of 3-5 m. The Gulf of Tonkin and central coastal areas are also seeing rough seas and waves up to 4 m. In recent days, continuous downpours have severely affected several central provinces. In Hue, major streets were submerged. Local authorities have warned of prolonged flooding in downstream areas, flash floods, and landslides in mountainous communes. In Quang Ngai, heavy rain on October 25th to 26th triggered multiple landslides, isolating several communities. Over 70 households were relocated from high-risk zones, while transport routes such as National Highway 24C remain impassable. In Kon Tum province's Dak Phu Loc Commune, torrential rain caused serious landslides, damaging homes, roads, and crops. Nearly 450 households were temporarily cut off, and local authorities mobilized heavy machinery to restore access once conditions allow. Local disaster response teams continue to monitor water levels, reinforce dikes and reservoirs, and coordinate evacuations to ensure public safety. Authorities have strictly prohibited travel through flooded or landslide-prone areas as central Vietnam braces for further heavy rain in the coming days. Heavy rain combined with high tides has caused historic flooding across Ho Chi Minh City and southern Vietnam, causing one fatality and leaving homes submerged and crops damaged, the Southern Regional Hydrometeorological Center said on Saturday. The center reported that rainfall has reached 70 to 100 millimeters in some areas over the past several days, while river water levels, combined with high tides, exceeded historical records in multiple locations. Water levels in the Mekong Delta surpassed historical highs in several locations, including Khe Tre City, which rose 2.33 meters, 6 centimeters above the previous record, and My Thuan, up 2.22 meters, 5 centimeters above its record. In Ho Chi Minh City, Thursday Dao Moat Ward recorded a tide 1.87 meters high, 7 centimeters above its historical high, while Phu An and Na B stations were near their historical levels. At least one person died in Bao Bang Commune after floodwaters swept away a temporary home. Flooding submerged dozens of homes, including 69 in Ben Cat Ward and 103 in Long Nguyen Ward, and damaged 42.5 hectares of crops, roads, and vehicles. Phu Tan Commune saw 0.8 hectares of rubber plantations inundated, while 10 hectares of crops were affected in Phu An Ward. In Thursday Dao Moat Ward, 106 meters of canal embankment was breached. Breaches in local embankments in Bin Hoa and Bin Mai communes caused flooding of roads and surrounding areas, and embankment failures in Dong Tan and in Phu Dong wards inundated orchards and streets. In Dong Thap province, floods inundated 17 homes, 5 classrooms, 88 hectares of newly planted rice, 447 hectares of fruit orchards, 3.5 hectares of vegetables, and 2.5 hectares of aquaculture, causing estimated losses of VND 8.62 billion, $327,700. Other southern localities, including Khe Tre City and Vinh Long province, also reported widespread flooding in areas previously unaffected, authorities said.
Đi đẹp hơn.